welcome back to Hardcovers and Hot Takes. Today we are discussing From Blood and Ash and Flesh and Fire and the other book. What is it called, Heavenly?
The Fall of Wrath and Ruin.
Okay,
Pretty much the whole universe that she's
the
like
whole universe.
building. Yeah.
I just want to preface that I finished Blood and Ash 5, no, 6. Is it 6?
Yeah.
Literally right before we were filming today. So
It was a time crunch.
it wasn't even that. My brain is not working. My brain's fried.
It's
So
okay.
it's okay.
But we're gonna debrief.
We are gonna debrief. I
Um,
can't even process what's going
side
on. So
side note, we're not doing a summary.
no, it'll be
This
so
series
long.
it's too complex. If you want a recommendation, this is it. Go read it.
Yeah, I will say, at first I read the first book and I was like, you know what? I don't really know if
How
I
many
like
how
this.
many years have I been begging?
Yeah, literally years. 4, 5, I think.
This
But
this book was my most anticipated read of this year.
yeah, I started it back in June, I think, and I'm
Yeah.
just now finishing the final book after
Yeah.
everything. I did the suggested reading order, which is, I guess, the publishing order. Um,
Yes.
yes, outside of the book about Thorn. And I will say that this was one of the most well written, thought out book series that I
Yeah.
ever read. Like, yeah, in Fourth Wing, you're like, okay, there's some, theories going on. We can really dive deep here. But this was next level.
I feel like for me, it was so the first time that I read Blood and Ash, I actually okay, Sarah and Nick's book weren't out yet. And then when they did come out, like I at that point I kind of was like I was into so many other series that I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait till we're like close to the end because I've already had my heart
Right,
broken, like, in those moments. So like I'm not
right,
doing it again. And so I think it's kind of crazy that I thought I knew who the villain was, what the plot is, what we're fighting, all this stuff. And
right.
then I read Sarah and Nick's story and I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't have been more wrong. And
Yeah.
so I think it's so crazy how in the first couple books, you feel like you have everything figured out and you're like, oh my God, the war is just against the
Right.
blood
It's
queen,
literally,
like
oh, you're just gonna fight
your
Queen
mom.
Ileana and the Blood Crown and get rid of all the
And that's it.
escapes, yada
And
yada.
it's like, no,
No,
actually, that's like not even like the
it's not
surface
even
level of it.
close.
So I
Not
I
even
think that's
close.
and I was talking about this with Tyler's mom last night. I just want to know how her brain even thinks like this.
Because I see, it gets me because I said it's the most well written, thought out things. How do authors come up with
I don't
this?
know. Like, how do
Like,
you write
she
book
put
one
some
and know 8 books
serious thought.
later that you're gonna, yeah,
Well, and the other thing is that she has 14 billion other series. She
yeah,
has so many
yeah,
books. And like, I don't know when these books came out, but still, even that, the thick of that is a
yeah.
lot to do. And it's just
And
like,
she
I don't
doesn't
know
just write about like
how
one
she
character
does all of
either.
that.
Yeah. Well, and it's not like it's just like one character either. Like they're like obviously yes, the main story is like Poppy, but there are other point of views now. And now we have Cass
Yeah,
and we have Kieran and we have all this. So it's like there are
yeah,
multiple, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that
yeah.
like we're cross like universe series now,
Yeah,
like
we're across realms.
and when
Three
I
of them,
actually and
four
when I
of
actually
them.
read the Blue Book when it came out, I didn't know that it was going to be with this series, and I
Yeah.
loved it. Like I literally fell in love with that book because it's like Cass on steroids, like that.
Which is a
Um,
whole other thing.
but, ooh,
There's things there too.
and we're gonna get into that because there's a reason why I say Cass on steroids anyway.
It's just
But
the
yeah,
connections that come through in this series, it's
yeah,
insane. Like how
yeah,
Jennifer thought to bring all of it together was
yeah.
just, it's mind blowing.
Okay, but
I could never do that.
I'm sorry though, but the last line of this book.
I I knew it. I knew it. That's the
I
thing,
knew
is
it,
that
but I
I
didn't want to
knew it.
believe it.
But I was just like, no, that can't be it. That's not right. but I had this little inkling in the back of my
Yeah.
brain that
Yep.
was like, oh, he could be talking about
Yep.
Cass. And then I moved on. Because it happens like in I don't know, the first third of the book.
Well, and I think the thing that made me think about it, I started to actually think about it in Sarah and Nick's book because remember when like she was brought back or whatever, and then Nick was like, I understand why they say like falling in love is so dangerous for us, and not because you can kill me, but because if you would have died, I would have become. Because remember, they didn't know that it was
Yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah.
They
When
they thought that it was still about her, so he was like, I would have become that death and destruction or whatever because like I would have just like I
ended all the realms. He
yeah.
literally said, I'm going to end all the realms, and
Well, and so I think it's so crazy the
that's
parallels
crazy. I
that we
didn't even
get.
put that together.
Well, and it's crazy the parallels to me because like okay, like Sarah and Poppy, like their stories almost identical, right? Obviously they
Right,
have differences, but you get what I'm saying. And so Sarah and her are like, which is I mean they're grandma and granddaughter, like it
right,
makes
yeah.
sense. And then like Nick is like Cass, and I'm waiting for them to meet. Like I'm wanting
Yeah.
I want the family dinner.
Yeah,
And
literally the Sunday family dinner in Ilya.
right. And
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
oh, awkward. Yeah, guys, we're fully prepared. I brought all the all of the devices. Okay, let's start doing this prophecy. Okay, otherwise we
Okay,
could just talk.
we gotta pull up our notes. This is like one of the first books that I had to freaking note take. My notes app is a mess.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I'm like halfway confused all the time.
Okay, so
I just can't.
obviously we're gonna put this up on the screen for you guys while we're talking. So first thing you're gonna notice is that we wanted to show the breakdown of connections between siblings, mother, father, heartmates, loves, all that stuff, just to see the breakdown, right? And then you
Love.
also have,
Hold on, sorry, not to interrupt you.
oh,
I love that this series had a flow chart. We could create a flow chart for this.
my science degree came
Insane.
in handy.
It did you know what? It is coming in handy because this shit
No,
is
for
out
real.
of control.
No, and honestly, I never thought that I would like enjoy a book series where I have to write a flow chart to understand
Literally, it's
the
like trying to
connection.
break down a riddle.
Okay, so
One
then
big
we
riddle.
also have the primals, and we wanted to just show the primal to what land because that does play a part here,
Yeah.
as well as okay, the fates. Okay, Sarah has a promise to literally kill, or well, no, was it Poppy?
No, it's
To
Poppy.
kill.
It's
It was
Poppy.
Poppy. It was Poppy. It was Poppy.
She said
But
because
oh,
he asked
But
Sarah.
Sarah said she would help her.
Yeah, she
Um,
goes, I only know of one more. And then Aegis
yeah.
goes, I know of two more. And she goes, I want to know how many I can kill without splitting the realms apart.
Yes. Yes. So we wrote down the fates because obviously, like I feel like that wouldn't have been thrown in there.
It's definitely going to come into play next book.
It's definitely gonna come into play,
Seriously.
100%. Okay, so then we also broke down this prophecy for you guys. So we're gonna just start going into this. So all right, let's do it. Okay.
Wait, wait.
From the desperation of golden crowns and born of mortal flesh. Okay, that is talking about Nick's dad, the true primal of life,
So
golden crowns. Yes. And then born of mortal flesh is talking about Satoria. Um, and what it's talking about with like the desperation, it's talking about how Ethos placed the embers of Satoria in the Murel bloodline to like save her and his power. And the desperation was like she came to him and was like, kill me. Please help me die. Like I need to be away from him. So
right.
from her desperation and Colus's obsession, that is where this started. Because Colus wouldn't have done all of that if he hadn't killed him. Now, I still stand on the statement that I do not think Colus meant to kill his brother.
No, absolutely
It,
not.
it
You
is
can
the only
tell
thing,
in the book
yes.
that
It's
he
the only thing I think he actually has feelings and guilt about towards.
yeah.
Um, So that's what that is. Like the desperation of that is, and the split that that caused between those two brothers is what caused this entire prophecy to start. So that's the start of it.
The next line is a great primal power rises as the air to the lands and the and sea, to the skies and all the realms, a shadow in the ember, a light in the flame, to become a fire in the flesh. So we know that's talking about Sarah, obviously. She becomes
It's literally the
the
names of the
primal
book.
of life. It's the name of the book, yeah. So we obviously know that one's talking about Sarah.
Yeah. For the one born of the blood and the ash, and the bearer of two crowns, and the bringer of life to immortal God and a dragon. So this is still talking about Sarah. So what this is saying is, so the bearer of two crowns. So Sarah holds two crowns, because she literally is Palos and is it that what's the Isles that she has? How do you
Oh,
say it?
Castilla. It's the best as
Yeah,
I.
the
Yeah.
Isles. Plus, technically, she's also has a crown of the Shadowlands. So if you wanted to count those two islands, one and then that, either way, she's two, right? And then it says, and the bringer of life to an immortal, a god, and a dragon. So she raises Kieran's draken, and then she ascended multiple characters throughout the series. So
Right.
immortals, gods, everything. She literally restarted the like the gods back up
Yeah. And
in
then
that series.
she brought his Draken back to life. Yeah.
Right. And then also she brought the sister's wife back to life, the one that was injured, and then she ended up, remember when Nick took her, the sister, because they killed the brother, the sister ends up coming
Oh
and Nick
yes,
carries
yes,
her.
yes.
She brought I can't remember her name though, but she brought her back to life
Ezra?
as
Is her
well.
name Ezra? Or am I
No,
thinking of Pretty Little
I
Liars?
don't know. But then when it also says like the bringer of life, that life part is talking about the embers.
Yeah. The next one is a silver beast with blood seeping from its jaws, of fire bathed in the flames of the brightest moon to ever be birthed, will become one. So obviously it's talking about Nick and Sarah becoming one because he is the silver beast. That was so cute when I realized that he was the wolf that was watching her that she like noticed when she was a kid or whatever. That was so cute. Um, and then in Sarah's like formal announcement,
Her like coordination,
yeah,
right?
like
Yeah.
yeah, he calls her the brightest moon to ever be birthed or the brightest moon. Um,
Hmm.
it says it's because of his her hair, but I
It
think
has something to do with that. And like Penelope like says more about it, but it's
yeah,
literally that part's still talking about Sarah. A lot of
Sarah
this
and
is
Nick. It
about
just
Sarah.
means that they're becoming one and they're gonna get married.
And well, not even
I
becoming one.
wonder.
I think it's talking about their bond. Like we'll become one because like they're
Yeah,
heartmates. So like
yeah.
soul, whatever. Um, when the stars fall from the night, the great mountains crumble into the seas, and old bones raise their swords besides the gods. The false one will be stripped from glory as the great powers stumble and they fall, some all at once, and they fall through the fires into the avoid nothing.
Okay.
Okay, good.
I tell you, I connected in the last book of Flesh and Fire when she raised literally the bone lands,
Yeah,
and then in first when they like the one of the first books of Blood and Ash where they visit Lycilium and all of the little skeletons come up and guard
yeah,
whatever. When I tell you when I connected that shit, I was so ecstatic. I was like, "Oh my god, I figured it out!"
yeah,
I was just like, "I can't believe I figured it out."
yeah. No, I feel like I didn't start to like put the prophecy together until honestly right about that time frame in the books because then I
Yeah,
was like, well, I was like putting like little things together, but I was like, that's when I was like, oh my God.
yeah.
Okay, so what this is talking about is it's saying the false one, or well, okay, so when the stars and the crumble and the mountains and these rise and the swords rise and da 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 da, that's talking about like obviously what you just said, like Sarah with the
Yeah,
bond
when
lands
Sarah
and
raises the bone lands
yeah.
to the war
Um,
when
then
they
it
to
says
Polis.
the false one will be stripped from glory as the great powers stumble and they fall. So that's the false one is Colas, pretty obvious. And then the rest of it is talking about Sarah reclaiming the primal of life title, and then also it's talking about like him being like he will be put down.
Yeah.
Um, and then when it says and they fall some all at once, and that they will fall through the fires to avoid nothing. This is talking about how all the gods that started to fall, that they were like, you remember when they were like strategically taking them out and replacing them with like their inner
Yeah,
circle?
they each had like Cyan and Theon and Layla
Yeah,
all
so that's what that's
people
talking
to
about.
ascend.
Yeah, so that's what that's pretty much talking about. Like it's literally talking about how like the rise and the fall of them, like it's
Yep.
those gods. So
And then the next one is those left standing will tremble as they kneel, will weaken as they become small, as they become forgotten. So it's talking about that the rest of the gods that are left.
mm.
So the new ones that are newly risen, so Theon, Sion, Layla, whatever it may be, they all go to sleep and then they become forgotten due to history being rewritten. And
Okay, you know what I kind of just was thinking of, and like this might be kind of crazy, but like I don't know. It still goes with it though. Okay, so those left standing will tremble as they kneel. So that's talking about how like they officially recognize like Sarah and Nick as like
yeah,
she's the primal of life. Um, will weaken as they become small. So yes, this is and like the rest of that line is talking about like all the gods going into stasis, but why did they go into stasis? They went into stasis because Sarah was about to freaking end everything because
yeah, she was about to level the world.
her kids were taken, because her things that were small were taken. Jadis was a baby. And so small, I feel like, is foreshadowing
You might be right.
children. I think it's foreshadowing
Might be
children
right.
slightly, because if you think about it too, as the second that she found out she was pregnant, she realized that the prophecy wasn't about her. That it was about someone down the line
Yeah.
of her blood.
Well, because
So,
even I'm gonna butcher it. I can't say it out loud. I can only read it in my head. Penelope? Penelope? That's how I
Penelope.
can say it. How do you
Oh,
say it?
I say Penelope because that's
Oh,
what makes sense
Penelope.
to me.
Well, that's not it, but okay.
That's what I can't.
Penelope.
I have it written down.
Is it Penelope?
I say Penelope, so I don't know.
Okay, Penelope, Penelope, whatever.
Yeah.
She even said to them, like, oh, the vision or the dream that I saw happened way after,
Yeah.
like hundreds of years after. And
Yeah.
nobody was like, when she first said that, nobody was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
I That's
No,
something I thought of too, because I was like, why is everyone still so focused on that like Sarah could end all of this and da 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 da, and I'm like, it's literally
right,
not about her. Now, granted, if she wouldn't have survived, the prophecy wouldn't have come to be. So like,
right, yeah.
peace, you know,
Technically,
the,
she could be the
right,
end of it, you know?
right. Okay, so then next it says, for finally the primal rises, the giver of blood and the bringer of bone, and the primal of blood and ash.
That's
Poppy.
obviously talking about
It's
Poppy. They
literally
call
all talking
her,
about
yeah.
Poppy.
Blood and ash means life and death. She's the primal of life and
Right.
death.
Well, and then also I think it's interesting that the primal of blood and ash, and then like the book from Blood and Ash, and like the whole quote that like the resistance would like say. So it's like literally talking about the primal of, because she's Atlantean and she became the queen of Atlantia.
Yeah.
So,
And the saying that they say is from blood and ash we will rise. So from life
yeah,
and death we will rise.
right.
Because they
100%.
explain somewhere in the books that blood and ash means life and death.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is two of the same misdeeds of the same great and primal power in the mortal realm. So that's talking about Sarah and Poppy. They were born of the two same misdeeds. So Sarah was the first maiden that is referenced in like one of the first or second books of From Blood and
Yeah.
Ash, and then Poppy was born in the same shroud, which is what the word that they use, the veil, and she is the second maiden. She obviously has
Yeah.
the same power
Well, and
as
it's
her.
also talking about Satoria too, and how Satoria was, she was the misdeed that was placed within both of them, but it was in different
Yeah,
ways.
yeah. And then originally the same misdeed, they were like, oh, it's just because we were veiled in the Ascended.
Right.
That's what they originally thought, but no, it's the same misdeed as in you had Satoria's soul.
Okay, but then also with like two misdeeds, it says of the same great and primal power in the mortal realm. So what this also has to do with is Nick and Sarah failed because she was supposed to die. She was not supposed to ascend. Same thing with Poppy and Cass because they failed um with ascending um Poppy because she again was not supposed to make it. So
Yeah,
pretty
and
much
that
by
ties
then,
into all of the things of how Malik tried to end her, and people have tried to repeatedly
yes.
kill Poppy because she's
Right.
not supposed to be here because it's gonna bring Colas. And
Yeah, and like the fates like literally say that like so the reason why they had to like restart over with Satoria was because which is kind of funny to me because they say that it's because Sarah failed, but Sarah couldn't have killed him anyway. One physically they can't kill him because there was no one at the time to replace him because she isn't Satoria. So her soul had to be kept in the star.
yeah,
So if they took it out of the star, they had the risk of him being awakened, and so then they
yeah,
couldn't like there was no way for them to physically
yeah.
in their timeline. But you know, it's something I just thought about. What if it's two of the same misdeeds being that they fell in love?
Yeah,
And
it could
and
be.
and Cass and Nick symbolize the great primal power because they were like originally from that, and
Yeah,
Sarah and Poppy obviously reckon like they're in from the mortal realm, and literally the fates keep saying like the only thing that they like can't predict is like love, and literally like for example that quote we said earlier with like Nick was like if you had died I'd have done this, and then what happened at the end of this book with Poppy, all of it happened because of love.
there's so many things it could be, which is why this last book is going to be
Yeah.
exponential.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know how many pages are in the physical book, but there's almost 1,300. There's 20 pages short of 1,300 pages in the Kindle version.
I want to say my Barnes and Noble had like 900 something.
Yeah,
I
so
could be
it's a
wrong, but I
long
mean,
book.
it's a thick boy.
And
So,
didn't you say that it was split in half? Because she already has the other half.
so that's what I heard. I heard that when she was writing this book, that it was too big, and so
Too
they
big
had
as in
to
like how Harry Potter's last book was too big and it got split into two
like
movies.
pretty much like the way that someone described it, and I don't remember where I saw this, but that it was like think like if Deathly Hallows had been one movie, and why they had to split it up into like part one and part two.
Yeah.
And that it was too big, so that's why we had to like split. Because I mean, the book was already that long, and if there's still room
Yeah.
for a whole other book,
Oh,
you know,
I'm sure the book was like 2,000 pages, and that's why they had
yeah,
to split it in two.
yeah.
Can you
So
imagine if we got to continue right away after that ending?
I would have loved it.
Yeah. Also, now we have to wait
I've
apparently
been
spring of
grieving on my own
2026.
since it came out because I had it finished the day that it came out, and I've been waiting on you to catch
I
up.
did
So
read it though pretty fast. I mean,
you
we
did,
got
but
started
I've still been
forever.
grieving on my own. Okay,
I know. You've been grieving on your own. I'm sorry.
okay, let's go back.
The next line is a first daughter with blood full of fire, fated for the once promised king. Obviously, that's talking about Millie and Malik. They're
Yep.
heartmates, which I hope they get their own story. It was rumored that we're supposed to following the ending of this, and then we have no idea about the next Fall of Ruin and Wrath. But I really hope they do get their story.
Yeah, I would.
Um,
It's definitely something I would like, but I want the other ones out first.
oh well, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But
But Once
obviously,
Promised King is talking about because Malik was supposed to be the king.
so the first daughter is obviously Millie because Isbeth thought wrong and thought she needed a first daughter. So that's where Iris and her come in.
Mm,
And then Isbeth wants to wake Colas to get revenge on Sarah and Nick for not
mm,
confirming the heartmate trials for her and Malik because they couldn't have grandchildren because of the prophecy.
right.
And then now it doesn't even really matter because the prophecy's not about them anyway. It's about Cass. she obviously was wrong, and now Millie is a revenant or something. She is, but
She's
we
like Callum.
also not.
She's like Callum.
Yeah, we really don't know what they are.
They're okay, so they described them as that they're revenants, but
But they're
with
not. That's
but they're
literally what.
revenants with still part of their soul intact.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Because oh yeah, I
So
remember. So when
yeah,
Colas created Callum, he was feeling all of these feelings,
yeah,
and then when Isbeth created
yeah,
Millie, she was feeling all these feelings, and that's
yes,
why.
yes. So they have like it's like we don't know how much of it, but it's like that they still have some of their soul, which is
Right,
why
yeah.
they are different than other
Right.
women.
Which I feel like is probably why that Millie and Malik can be heartmates, because I know that you said,
Because
oh,
it's
I
still
don't know
intact. Yeah.
how they can be heartmates if she's not technically alive. But I guess if she still has
It
part of her soul,
it
then
it also makes me wonder how her relationship, if there's gonna be a relationship with Sarah and Nick, because all they wanted when as soon as they found out like that they were gonna have kids, like they like even before that, like they wanted like a full family, like they wanted to be
yeah.
grandparents, they wanted to be this, but like I'm wondering if like that's gonna,
Well, I mean, when
I feel
Sarah
like it won't
visits,
hinder. Like she asked about her.
yeah, well, yeah, when Sarah visits Poppy, she's like, "How's Millicent or Millie or whatever?"
Yeah,
And she, I mean, she was like, "I would love to be like a part of, or I would
yeah.
love to get to know you and Millie and things like that." Um,
But I wonder Iris's
that's gonna be
feeling.
rough because we know that he escaped. The very beginning of the book
Yeah,
is when we picked him up and he went back. Neck detective took him back to
yeah.
the
Well,
Godland.
he's been back like healing this whole time. So,
Yeah, so we literally have
um,
no idea how he's doing. I mean,
I'm
I guess
waiting.
he's with Poppy right now. They're both in the
Well, right, that's what I
place.
was gonna say. So I think the ending of the book was I think that Atti's because he's the only one who could take her there. Because the fates like had it closed off.
Yeah.
I think Addie's took her there, and so she's healing there, right? And I think in this next book we're gonna get a lot of interactions between Nick, Sarah, and Iris and Atti's, like all of them. And
I
like
hope so. I hope so because
I
Nick
hope
Rose
so.
is,
They literally deserve that.
yeah.
They deserve that. And I
I
also we need to talk about this. Okay. Because no one is talking about this, and I had to wait for you to get to the part to figure it out.
okay.
Her dad that she has in all of those dreams, and she remembers who loved her so
Yeah.
much.
Oh my
All
God.
of it was him the whole time.
It was him the whole time.
It
Because
was him.
oh my God. When she was
Because there's
talking,
no way with that sentence, you have it highlighted.
I
Um,
do have it highlighted.
that sentence where he like literally talks about how she's named after the goddess who's
Yeah,
friends with
the
the god,
queen
like
didn't name you. He goes, the queen didn't name you.
yeah,
No. Okay. He said, my mother and Penelope were good friends. The queen didn't name you. And then
right.
when her and Ates are talking right before they get to Colas, when they shadow
Mm-hmm.
step,
Mm-hmm.
she mentions Leopold and he like
Uh-huh.
flinches and he's like, what did you just say? And she
Yeah.
goes, Leopold, my the person who took care of me. And then she was like, why? And he goes, none of that matters. No, that's definitely Iris, and that's
Yeah.
definitely a whole nother plot line that we still have to get into.
100%. Well, and it makes me wonder, like, okay, so remember how um like Cass went by Hawk? It
Yeah,
makes me wonder if Atsy's recognized that. Like, I'm wondering if like Leopold is like
his
a
middle
middle
name
name.
or something.
Right. And so then that's what he like went by.
Oh,
And
good idea.
that's why because otherwise why would Atsy's have that kind of reaction?
Yeah,
Like even if
Natsy's been around a long time.
like even if he knew that Iris was it the whole time, I feel like he wouldn't have had that reaction. Because remember when Poppy, when his parents found out that like, or no, when Kieran found out that Poppy called him Hawk, or no, Cass for the first time or something like that. Like it was like you remember how like everyone was like, oh, like the name for some reason calling someone like by that name, they're like, so like that made me
Yeah,
be like, oh, like
yeah,
okay, is Leopold
right.
like his
That could
name?
be, yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that. The mom
Yeah.
thing, yeah,
Because otherwise, I just feel like otherwise he wouldn't have had like
a
that
reaction
reaction.
like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was
But
just like Iris was sent in undercover to the mortal realm to
Right, right. Either
find
way, though, he
Malek.
knew that that name was, you know what I'm
Significant.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was him the whole time, and the fact that like I think that even though obviously the children, what I don't believe her mom for 1 second. I don't care if she ever says that it wasn't forced or anything. It was. I'm
It
sorry.
was. Yeah,
This man
100%.
was
There's no
literally
way.
held captive. He was literally held captive.
Yeah, there's no way you're gonna put him in his Nona form and keep him there.
Right. Um, but I think I'm very excited to see because Poppy deserves to like have a relationship
Yeah.
with her dad.
Yeah, I
And
was
I
really
feel like
happy.
that's gonna be very like heartwarming and like
Yeah.
touching. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying? Like,
I was really happy when when Holland, it was Holland, brought her to their realm to see the fates, that she got to see Victor.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
And
Literally, I was like,
when you find out in Flesh and Fire that Seraphina asks Victor to take on that task of watching over Poppy
right.
when the time comes, it makes his death and his last words so much more painful. And it's just
Yeah.
like,
Like being like,
wow,
oh, I failed. And she's like, you know, you didn't fail me. He's like, no, no, no. Like I like literally
I
did.
failed. Ugh,
Yeah.
that sucked.
Yeah.
When I made that connection, I was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. And the second daughter with blood full of ash and ice, the other half of the future king. Obviously, that's talking about Poppy and Cass. She's the second daughter. She was ascended, future king, Cass.
Yep. Yep. The only thing that kind of tricks me up here, first daughter full of blood, with blood full of fire, and then blood full of ash and ice. So obviously we can get the ash part, we get the blood part.
Right.
The fire and the ice do throw me off kind of bit. And the only thing that I can think of is um, if blood full of fire is something to do with Malik, and then if ice has to do with Cass, and because like
Cass.
ice and death,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
and then he freezes everything. I mean, Ash does that too, but
yeah. So I don't know that wording. It's still definitely about them, but that those
yeah.
two words specifically made me kind of be like,
Imagine it's not.
huh,
We know that it is
don't
because
even.
it's pretty obvious, but imagine it's not. Imagine she
Right. Some like
puts it
crazy
on
plot.
us.
No, I think I literally just like throw
Imagine
my
it's 3 decades from now.
literally would
We
throw
don't
my
know where
computer, I
Colas
think.
is.
Yeah.
Colas disappeared.
Okay. And then it says, and they will remake the realms as they usher in the end, and will begin with the last chosen blood spilled, the great conspirator birthed from the flesh and fire of the primal will awaken as the harbinger and the bringer of death and destruction to the lands gifted by the gods. Okay. This is a lot to unpack. So, the whole time, flesh and fire, they thought that Sarah was this harbinger and she was
Right.
going to be
Yeah.
this death and destruction. And then they realized, no, it's not going to be me. It's going to be them. But Sarah's not worried because the fates confirmed that no one that has like Satoria's soul could ever be like corrupted,
Yeah.
which is
She said that. I think it was Holland who said it. It was either Holland or Victor, and it
one
was
of the two. Yeah, I want to
your
say it was Holland.
bloodline is not susceptible to like power corruption.
Yeah.
Um, so that is a good thing.
Yes.
Obviously
100%.
not AT's bloodline.
Um, so then they will remake the realms as they usher in the end. So that's talking about the war with the Blood Crown.
It could also
Remaking the
mean the
realms.
continents, which is New York. It doesn't
I
make
think
sense because I think you're right. Just because it doesn't say make sense, it says
it could
they
be both.
talking about the
Yeah.
previous sentences, as in
Yeah.
Lily and Poppy. So I have no idea.
It could mean both, but I definitely think that it's more towards Cass and Poppy and like literally they remake the realm right now. Like they're
Right.
destroying, the bad crap right now. And then it says, and then they will begin with the last chosen blood spilled. Okay. This has a couple different things. Okay. So Poppy was chosen.
Yeah.
She was, the chosen one, the maiden, and she was chosen also with like Satoria. You know what I'm saying? Like she
Yeah.
is Satoria. Um, so when Colas, this could mean two things, right? It could be when Colas almost kills her because either way, it's this caused this reaction
Yeah.
for Cass. So this is still about Cass, but it's one of the two things or both or combined, like whatever. But I think that It could either be Poppy because when Colas is like killing her, he can like feel it, like he knows something is
Yeah.
wrong, he can like sense it. Or literally he watches Delano and all them, his dad be killed, and then Kieran and like they're bleeding. And also Kieran was kind of chosen because he was chosen by them, to like be in their joining. So either way, both people mean
Yeah.
chosen. So,
Or
and both blood was spilled.
or it's talking about just Poppy because she's the last maiden. Her blood was
It could be.
spilling by the end of the book, right?
It could be, but it makes sense for it to be either. So like it could be Poppy
The
or
only
Kieran.
thing that gets me is why I think this. I have the annotation because I remembered this part of the prophecy and I was like, what the heck?
Okay.
This is why I think that. So I did what I swore I would never do again. I took a deep breath and did what I was forced to do when I donned the veil. It wasn't real. I wasn't slipping anything over my head, but I could feel the weight of the golden chains. I forced myself to become nothing, which is what Sarah does.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't feel anything, not the anger, the disgust, not even the sharp or suffocating emotion that hid itself behind the rage. I didn't just shut it down. I cut myself off. I changed, adapted. For the last time, I became the chosen.
Yeah.
So
That's why like
that's why I'm like, I think it could be about
like
Poppy for that reason. I understand what you're saying completely.
I definitely think it is about Poppy, but either way, it still makes sense for either.
Oh yeah,
You
absolutely.
know?
I mean, who knows? Because I kind of had an inkling it was going where it was going,
Yeah.
but I wasn't expecting that. It I mean, people do say, I love a good villain. This is where we're heading.
So then it says the great conspirator birthed from the flesh and the fire. So flesh and the fire is talking about Sarah. Birthed from means it's from the same bloodline. So this is talking about Poppy. So
Yeah,
the word
so
conspiracy,
when people are like the great conspirator is Colas,
no, it's
it's
not
Poppy.
because it's Poppy. So conspiracy means like a secret plan, right? And Poppy slash Satoria had this secret plan to go and kill Cola. So by her choosing this plan, hear me out, choosing this plan where she called Thorn and did, and like literally was like, he can't leave, by
You can't
her choosing this path, it is what set everything in motion. It's
Yeah.
not even because necessarily just her blood was spilled and everything like that. It was because she chose this choice.
Yeah. Well,
So
and
then it says,
that ties into the whole like when Valen was like, because Sarah saved me and saved Jasper, it set everything in motion for you to be born and for the
yeah,
joining to happen
right, right.
and for Malik to be entombed.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just like, wow, they really weren't playing around.
No. And
I
so then
do
it
fully
says,
believe the great conspirator birthed from the flesh and fire because Sarah is the flesh and fire, so it's got to be the same bloodline, like you said.
it's 100%
It's
about Poppy.
100% Poppy.
It's not Colas. And the great conspiracy or the great plan, think of just Satoria itself. Because remember,
Yeah.
Poppy is Satoria.
Yeah. Well, and they're
The
like,
whole
Satoria
plan,
is the prophecy. The
right.
whole thing is Satoria.
Yeah. And it's pretty much her soul cycle, I guess.
Yeah, really. I mean, seriously.
So then it says, Primal will awaken as the harbinger and the bringer of death and destruction to the lands. Everyone thought that those were the same person, and I never once did. I always said there's an and, which means that one person's the harbinger and one person is this. Harbinger literally means like to bring this, like the person who is going to bring this upon that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
By the love that Cass has for her, the choices that she's decided, and because of her abilities and what she's passed down to Cass and what he is becoming, she is the harbinger who turned him
Yeah.
into the
So
bringer of death and destruction, the
here's
primal of death and destruction. Even if it
here's
was because of Colas.
here's what I think about that. I think they are the same person. I think the hairbringer and the bringer are the same person, and it's just Poppy of death and destruction, which is
Right.
obviously now Cass. And it says birth from flesh and fire of the primals will awaken. She's birth of Nick and Sarah, so that's the primal part.
Yeah.
As the hairbringer and the bringer. So I think she's both, and she's just bringing Cass to the lands gifted by the gods, which is obviously the mortal realm, which is where they are.
See, this is where I don't agree with you because okay, it says as the harbinger and then it says and the bringer of death and destruction.
Right.
So Cass was getting colder this
Yeah.
whole
Yeah. He wasn't feeding or anything.
well, no, he was. He is a Dominion god now. They are ancients.
Yeah, they're ancients.
They feed off of pleasure, which we learned in
You're
the book.
right. Oh my God, you're right.
So he was feeding the whole time, don't you
And I
worry.
felt like this book
He
was
was getting
so
he was getting
spicy.
his honeydew fix. Don't you worry. So
I thought this book was so spicy. I was like, wow, there's a lot of spicy scenes in here. There's
no,
a
yeah,
reason for that.
he was getting that honeydew.
I didn't
So
put that together until right now.
and he was getting colder and colder and colder. And part of the ancients is that they lose like that ability to da 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 and this and that and feel this and
To
feel this and feel
feel
this
emotion.
without their Nicora, I think is how I
Oh
say
my
it.
God, you're
Yeah,
right.
your
Oh my
Nicora.
God, I completely forgot about that.
And guess who's his Nicora? Poppy, who is gone. It's been 3 weeks, missing. He hasn't heard anything, zilp, nitch, nothing. And he can't go because the fates have blocked it off.
With the wards
Because
because they have to keep Colas out.
they have to keep Colas out, but also I don't think Cass can step in there because it'll be between him and Nick, it'll destroy the realm because of their power.
He can't go to
Just
the
like,
Shadowlands, yeah.
yeah. And so I think the Harbinger is just Poppy because she is the bringer of all of this.
And there's
Her blood, her power is the reason because Cass, if they hadn't done the joining, it wouldn't have happened. That's another thing too. And that's why I also
you think it
think
would be different if they didn't do the joining?
yes,
Why?
because it bonded them even further. So yes, they're heartmates, but
Yeah, I guess that's true.
now they have a double bond. So like their bond is even crazier. And then you've got Kieran in it too. So it's literally just like a freaking triangle. And I think that and even the Fates said that that's not something that they ever had
Yeah,
like
no, well,
expected. They don't know what they're going to be. And so what I think is interesting is that okay, so we learned that like you manifest into like your animal and like your power, and it's very
right.
much so based off of age, but it's also emotions. Kieran has been level-headed this entire time because Cass was on this like, he was dealing with, which we realize now that all of his behavior was because he was slowly
Turning
turning
it,
in and
yeah,
ascending
turning
into the
into this.
primal,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know that. And then Poppy's going through this, so he's like playing peacemaker the whole time.
Yeah.
He's just
Well,
like, he's full of happiness, like
and from Flesh and Fire, there I'm gonna pull it from there, but they're baby primals. So
100%.
as they're maturing, things are getting worse. So just the entire book,
Right.
things are just getting worse.
But notice how that even though they're baby primals, he almost took Colas down
Yeah.
because they're
Oh
because
yeah.
they're
I thought he
ancient.
was I thought he was gonna kill Colas.
Now here's the thing. If Poppy had chosen not to do that, I think they could have killed him right then and there. If all of them were
Yeah, well,
I
Aiden,
think the
okay,
only way they can is if they work together.
with Aiden, he says, what if such a union would destroy her?
I think that he's saying that because I think the fates are afraid. Because there's only ever been, according to them, there's only ever been one Dominion god that was born.
And that's Thorn.
It was Thorn. And they literally look at him and they're like,
Oh God, and then Poppy created it.
and so, but also I think obviously they're different than Thorn because they're all connected and like Poppy created them. Like that's never been done before. You know what I'm saying? So like I think that
Yeah.
obviously like we have more to figure out, but I'm curious to see now that Kieran, I'm hoping in this next book we're not playing Peacemaker anymore. Like
No,
I want my dynamic trio back, like please.
right?
They're trying to like force the three of them against each other because when all three of them are together, I think it has to do with that they have to be together when they use their powers together.
Yeah. Well,
So they're trying
because Aiden makes that comment, he was like, "Well, that's a good thing that your bond can prevail all of these things and that you guys are stronger than this.
Yeah, like I also feel like that even though I don't really like that fate, I feel like he's secretly on like the good side with like Holland and Victor, but he definitely plays like
Yeah.
the secretest of secret devils, like you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
double agent. Okay, so the last part of the prophecy says, beware for the end will come from the east and lay waste to all which lies between. That is the only part that I'm not sure on, and I did
Which
not
is
highlight it.
insane
I did
because
not
if
note it.
it's
Go ahead.
insane because the chapter, the last, we obviously know that chapter 60, the final chapter in From Blood and Ash 6, is in Kieran's point of view.
Yeah.
The last chapter in Cass's point of view, which is chapter 59, he obviously turns into that. I suddenly understood Aiden's word about our union becoming something was rising because something was rising from within me. It was a thing, a powerful thing that had always been there, waiting, watching, caged, and it was cold, unending. And it tasted of ruin and wrath. Now,
Mhm.
this is the part that gets me. It promised death and destruction, so him, and I would unleash it from the west to the east, laying waste to all in between.
Yeah. So
It's
I
literally
think that
opposite of
sentence
that.
is I think that that's where I was like confused upon, and that's why like I didn't like note it because like I feel like that is the next book, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I also think that okay, it literally makes again another statement about like ruin and wrath. Like it's more connections to Thorn, and
Yeah.
we're gonna really get into all the connections to Thorn. And you know what the craziest part is that I have all these connections, and this makes sense, and this makes sense, and this ends up. But what does it mean?
Yeah. What does
I
it
have
mean?
I
What's the
have no
point?
clue. I have no clue where the next book is going. The only thing I know is that she said that Delano's dead. Sorry.
That I
That
can't.
he
I can't even.
that
I
he's
no.
dead.
No. No.
Dead.
We're not
Uh,
talking about that. I know that he's gone,
and
but you need
that
to leave him alone
apparently
because Delano is my puppy dog. Okay?
okay,
Leave it
anyway. And then
alone.
apparently Colas is supposed to be dead in this one as well.
Well, that's a relief. Took 9 books.
But so we're gonna get into all that Thorn stuff, but while we're still on this,
Oh, also, the title of the next book, The Throne of Bone and Ash.
yeah, I don't even know.
I don't even know.
I think like predictions for next book.
Oh.
Um, obviously we're gonna get answers to a lot of things. I
I
want
hope
to know.
I hope by the end of the next book we have every single answer to the prophecy that we could have ever asked. It's like
Well,
solving a riddle.
it's like the last book. Like even if she writes a
It's the
Millie book,
final book. Yeah,
yeah,
even if
even if she
Millie and
writes like a
Millie get
Millie book or this book, like this is the last book. So,
no, I need
um,
to have every
everything will be
single
answered.
answer that I could have ever
Yeah.
asked.
I think everything will be. But the only like okay, so the thing that I'm looking for out of this, one, I want Reaver and Jadis to be okay.
See,
Um, I want the little family with Sarah, Nick, Poppy, Millie. Like I also really want Millie and Poppy to have
have a relationship. Me too.
yeah, like
Because
Millie wants it.
both of them
So,
are like, I would love a relationship with you, but I
yeah.
don't think she cares. And even at
Yeah.
the last chapter, she's like, my
Yep.
sister doesn't know me. She doesn't want that, but I want that.
Right.
No, you both
100%.
want it. I think that would be a
And
really cute, like
then
side storyline.
I need the stuff between Cass and Kieran to be fixed
You know what I
because
need? I need Kieran and Poppy to make out without Cass. Just kiss already. God damn
why
it.
why are you like this?
Because Kieran's my man. And you know what? Right now, I was right. Because right now, Cass is the villain and Kieran is peace minded. So right now, my side character
Okay, I still
is
want the
number
villain.
one.
Anyway, oh, no, I just want the three of them back together. Like,
Yeah.
I think that okay, do I understand Cass's frustration? Yes. Do I understand like him feeling the way that he felt? Because what I feel like people don't realize is that he still hasn't even been able to process. He got freed from capturing for all of this stuff to happen after he was like literally captured and tortured for a second time. All of that stuff happened, and then everything just keeps happening, and then
Yeah.
Poppy like literally like almost died, and then was in this stasis, and then like I just feel like people like also don't understand that like his trauma is like real. Like I feel like okay, it's
Yeah.
like his hand. Like everyone's like, oh my God, like he chose that under the mountain. Did not
No, we
like,
didn't.
you know.
No, we
And
did
so
not.
it's like the same thing. Like I just feel like because he's
Yeah.
a man, they like
While
overlook it.
while I understand why he was upset,
While I empathize, I
yes, I
still it's
understand
not
that
logical.
him becoming this person probably aided in him not
Yeah.
having a conversation with Poppy about it.
Yes.
But also, I think if I came to you instead of Phoenix and was like, if I lose control, you need to put me in the ground because my boyfriend will be destroyed by having to doing that. Like, I understand where Poppy's coming from as well, because like, I mean, she
Yeah.
doesn't want to put Cass in that position. You know what I mean?
No, 100. I see both sides of it. I just wish all three of them would have had a conversation.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
just feel like
But
that would have
also at the
literally solved
time
everything.
when Poppy asked Kieran to do that, they hadn't done the joining yet.
No.
So it wasn't like Kieran and Poppy were bonded
Right.
like they are
They
now.
were. They were though, but
They
not
were
like now.
bonded through the notum, but like or the primal
Yeah.
notum, but they weren't bonded through the joining.
Right. Well, and then I also feel like too what people are like not understanding, and if you haven't read the Blue Book, like you don't necessarily understand this. So when Thorn meets Callista, everything is like you're mine. Like there's this like primal instinct of like
Yeah,
you are mine. And I also feel like even though this whole time Cass has always been like that, like yeah, you're mine, but like with Kieran it was like different. I also feel like that made him feel so betrayed because it was just like the lack of trust and communication after
yeah,
everything that's been happening, and it made him feel like that he isn't like that he isn't hers.
yeah. Well, and
So,
this is like
and again, it's all because of what he's becoming. All of this is feeding into all of like his like insecurities and like
right.
all of those things, you know. Obviously he's changing and it's and with also becoming more of like an ancient and with Poppy not being there, I just feel like it's harder for him to connect to his humanity, which is where all of this is building from and stemming from. But then where I think it's interesting,
Humanity is such a great word that ties in. It makes it so much simpler to understand, like Vampire Diaries.
oh my God,
If
yeah.
humanity's off,
Well, okay, so let's pull up the family tree because this is our proposed theory of Cass's family tree. Okay, and this Cass is a descendant of Thorn, and the only way that that's possible, some people are like, "Oh, it's through his mother." I don't think that like at all.
no.
Like, no, it hasn't been mentioned enough.
I don't think Eloana is really a significant person
No,
in this
besides that she's
family
a
tree. Like
lion.
she's just yes, she is a significant person due to Malik and being Cass's mom.
Yeah, but not in
But
this
there's
storyline plot.
yeah,
No.
no.
So Thorn, here's where it gets kind of okay? So that means that Attis has to be a descendant of Thorn, which also means his twin is a descendant of Thorn.
Right.
But Thorn tells Kalissa that she or that he doesn't have kids, which could be a couple different things, okay? So we're gonna be bouncing around. So like hear me out, okay? One, he had his memories wiped, and we'll explain that. Two, he gave up his embers when he became a fate because he was an ancient.
Yeah.
And then he became a
Didn't he
fate.
have to give up something to become a fate?
All ancients, so all fates are ancients, but they had to give up like their part of their power and shit.
Right.
So they had to give up part of the power to like be that. So when he did that, maybe he had to give up some of his like embers,
Right.
and those embers were placed into Atzi's and Kuhn,
I
right?
also think because fates like originally they controlled certain areas
Yeah,
and that like so yes, there was like a fate or like an ancient of life or primal of life.
yeah,
They didn't really like feel emotion. So like
yeah,
war could have been or war, peace, and vengeance could have been thorns, and
right.
that's how they got their embers.
Yeah, 100%. So either way, we like have that connection there,
Right.
right? Okay. Holland and I'm just gonna say Penelope, okay?
Okay.
They're a thing, okay?
They're married,
Yeah, they're a thing. Okay.
which is so cute in my opinion.
This is where you have to hear me out, okay?
I have evidence to support you. I have evidence to support you, and as soon as you say it, I'm gonna pull it up.
Miss Willa is their daughter.
This, when she first told me this, I went nuts because I was like, okay, like, yeah, we pull her in somewhere. And then I read it, and I'm not even joking you. I was like,
Mhm.
holy crap. When they're talking about the bloodline, you are not just an Atlantean, and I'm betting it has something to do with ATs. He says, I'm half Atlantean. My mother was an elemental, and Willa is one of the oldest Atlantean bloodlines.
Mhm. Yep.
And
Uh,
it said that his father is a god.
yep. So then I think that that Miss Willa and Elon had an affair. And then from that affair, we have Valen, Cass's dad. Obviously, Cass Malik come from that.
Right.
Um,
We also didn't mention, so Penelope and Holland, their child is Miss Willa. She had an affair with Elion, who their child is Valen.
yeah,
But Elion's dad is Ates, who's from Thorn,
yeah.
and Elion's mom is Layla. Because obviously they have some past history we don't know about. Because obviously they're like really flirty and
Yeah, Layla and Attis definitely had Elon,
yeah,
100%. It's
yeah,
not like confirmed, but like it's 100%.
yeah. It's confirmed in my brain.
Okay, so then the only thing that trips me up is that coincidence of that they look
They look
like
like
twins and they
yeah,
act like them, right? Which could be a couple different things, right? Still could be from Addie's, could be Kian, could be Kian reborn, his soul, his
right.
embers placed, because there's so many people here who are messing with souls, who are messing with
Well, and
fate.
that's the thing
Like,
is that when Thorn comes through and it's like, I'm gonna pretend that you're not even here,
right, like what are
and
him
you're
like
appeared a
what does
lot.
right, like what do Addie's and him know? But
Right,
then this is where okay, so this is where like that relationship gets kind of weird because obviously this book takes place before like way before Wrath and Ruin, right?
right,
In Wrath and Ruin, he talks about like the history of them, of like the dominions and the ancients
right.
and stuff like that, so vividly, but as if it's like a story that that he just like
Right.
knew. Um,
It kind of reminds me of like Poppy when she was like kind of getting flashbacks of Satoria's memories.
yeah, and so I feel like he was an ancient that was before the Great War, and then before the Great War, and then he gave up his embers to become a fate. And this is where it gets kind of crazy because he tells Callista in here that he wasn't born until after the Great War, which makes me think what kind of happened because I think that he was put in the ground because I think he was put in the ground because he's so powerful and because like there's a threat about him.
Hold on.
And
What if what happened to him has something to do with Poppy messing and trying to destroy the Fates?
yeah, 100%.
She's bent on trying to get the Fates to go
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, because in this series, like unless he like knows it and he just like hasn't told her,
Right,
very very possible.
right,
Um, he's not a like he doesn't know he's a fate. He thinks he's just a dominion like God, which is pretty much an ancient, and they say it, but like they don't
right.
say it. But he has the eyes still of a
Yeah,
fate.
all of the colorful eyes and stuff.
Right. Unless it's like something like kind of like Victor, where Victor was, like in the world but a fate the whole time. But I don't know, like it's just kind of weird.
Yeah,
So it makes me kind of be like, if his memory was wiped, he wouldn't even remember, like he
yeah.
doesn't even remember this. Well, if he
Or
really
if
doesn't
it's like
remember.
if like you said it's Victor and it's a new life and he didn't get his
That
memories back.
that's what I'm saying. Like, and so he doesn't even remember meeting Poppy and doing all of that and all this stuff. So that's where I'm kind of like,
Yeah,
but
that's
then but then I'm like, is his favor to Poppy to put him in the ground?
ooh, that could be it because obviously Poppy still owes him a favor.
Right. And
And
like we
it's
know
like,
what that favor is going to be like
right,
nothing. So like is his favor for Poppy to put him in the ground?
right.
And so then he also talks about, and I have a quote. So he talks about when he's like saying the Great War, right? He says, it was so much more advanced. Buildings that stretched as tall as mountains. Food was rarely hunted, but raised or engineered. Cities that were connected by roads and bridges that spanned miles. Streets that were clogged with power vehicles instead of carriages, and steel cages that took to the air, transporting people across the sea. That the world was not like this. Then I'm like, okay, so
Obviously,
is
that's
the
talking
Great
about
War,
the
right? So is the
continents.
Great War what Poppy saw when she was in New York City, right?
Right.
But then it's also like the way that that description was, like that just sounds
It's
like
almost,
she
it's
is there,
literally almost exact as
right?
Poppy's.
But then it's like, okay, so is that the Great War, or is it something
Well, it could
else that
be,
caused them to go underground? You know what I'm saying?
with
Like the
you
Great
saying
War
it's
is
the Great
something.
War, it could be
That's
that
what,
the ancients that woke up in New York City are the ones who leveled that. And that's the Great War that he's talking about, or if
right,
he's talking about something that comes in book seven. Because there's a
100%.
lot of talk of the continents in this book, and I don't know how that's going to interfere. But when I tell
Right,
you, I read that part and she was like, oh, a statue holding a flame with a crown on her head. And I was
right.
like, she's in New York?
No, literally.
What is she doing in New York? And then
Literally. I feel like that had to just be like the only city that she knew people would like recognize like
instantly get,
instantly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, because at first I was like, oh, like, I wasn't really sure what was happening. And I was like,
Right.
okay, skyscrapers, maybe. And then
Yeah.
cars, okay, maybe. And then she's in New York City. I was like, what is she doing in New York? And then she goes,
Like such a random like thing.
I know. And it's crazy for the author to integrate our world
World into that world.
into
Yeah.
this book. That's insane because you know, all romance books are like placed on Earth. They might be
Right.
fictional places, but they're Earth
Right.
based, right? No, I literally was like, what is happening? Why are we in New York right now? And then
Well,
she
so
said
then
this thing. I could hear voices coming from these small things people carried in their hands. Cell
yeah,
phones.
cell phones. Literally
The
cell
way
phones.
that it was like integrated, I was just like, what is going
No,
on?
I
I'm
like
so
I felt like
confused.
I when I read that I literally giggled. I was like,
I know. I was
what
like,
is
what's happening?
so then what I was saying was is that I think Poppy puts him in the ground as like a favor because his memory is like
Right.
wiped, right? And like he doesn't like, like remember whatever. And he says that the process of being born, right? What it is, you wake underground under the witch woods and you instantly know everything and you stay underground for years hearing and learning the world above you while you like fully develop, right? The witch woods are trees that bleed. So just like the blood forest and
Yeah.
just like
That is the blood forest. I'm fully convinced.
100%. So then he also then says that the Witchwood's destruction was what woke the first. And what happened in this great war, he says that dominions, which it's never been said that they are ancients, right? But he says that they are as old as the realm itself. They're ancient.
The thing that confirms that it goes, Poppy, you're like an ancient born, which was impossible until you. Which, I mean,
Right.
it brings in the word that they're Dominion primals or whatever.
Right. And this is where like it even starts to like this description, like they're ancients. Like it literally says time started to affect them. It changed them, making them colder, less empathetic, and humane. Literally, that's why like gods and ancients have to go into the ground, right?
Right.
And then he says, so, and I think it's pronounced Michael. That's what I've been saying. Michael, the
Yeah.
wisest,
That's how
ordered them.
I would pronounce it. Yeah.
Right. It says that Michael ordered them to go to the ground, and then I have like noted here like go to sleep, like stasis.
Yeah.
So like this is even like more
Isn't
confirming.
it their stasis thing is called something similar too? It's not
Yeah.
the same word, but it's similar.
Now I'm just gonna start going into like the breakdown of like the blue book into this book, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Now, breakdown a blue book
breakdown.
into this book.
Okay, so we're just it's gonna jump all around, but like it's little bits. Okay, so Thorn calls Callista Nala, and it's N-A apostrophe L-A-A.
Right.
with like these like, or I don't know if that's an apostrophe, whatever it is. And then there's like the little
Right.
like italics, and the way that the word is written is the same way that Old Atlantean or any god word is written. And he
Right.
called that language Enochian. So Enochian is Old Atlantean, 100%.
I agree with you.
So then he says, right, that, where's that? Okay, so Thorn is a dominion, and when dominions are born, a divine human is made, and they are called starborn. And he says one time to her that the reason why his heart hasn't beaten a long time is because he lost his Nicora. I've put together Nicora, like obviously that means like heart, soul, love, like whatever word you want to use for
Right.
it, it's along those lines, right? There's also another word in there that's called a Niceraph, which is like obviously it's like a soulmate or a heartmate. I also think it's interesting that it's Seraph, like
Yeah.
Seraphina.
Yeah. Branded off of Seraphina. Yeah.
Right, right. So then,
Also, I want to point it out that Callista has foresight, so she's obviously from Seraphina and Poppy's bloodline.
right,
Because you can't get foresight without having primal of life embers or primal of death
100%.
embers. So
Well, it's said that like the Starborn people have like abilities and powers, but I just think that I feel like she wouldn't have wrote that power in there. You know what I'm saying? Unless it was
right.
like from their bloodline, right? And then also Thorn being in Cass's bloodline. So then I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's even more connections. Okay, but then it says that once a bond is complete, the Dominion gains their Nicora, their connection to their humanity. Their Nicora keeps them humane, compassionate, loving, all that stuff. So
Right.
it sets this book up to like literally like the characters, like Samuel literally was like, oh, like you're his to kill. But then we don't know what the bond means. She asks, and he literally is like, oh, don't worry about it because we're taking you to the king. The bond's not going to be complete. We're going to present you to the king, da 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 da,
Right.
because
Yeah.
they're trying. I think that they don't want him to be in his full power, right? So Samuel tells, and I also think it's interesting that her nickname is Liz, and Liz is soul. Um, so she tells, or that she's Thorn's everything, just like how Satoria was Colus's everything. So
So we
I think
talked
that's an
about this
interesting,
prior
yeah,
to filming, and when I was finishing the book, Colis made a promise to Poppy. She was like, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to take Satoria's soul, and she will be reborn again.
yeah,
And I just wonder if we're on the path that you're going.
right. So then I'm also thinking that Nicora is the same as Cardia
Yeah.
with like Nick, right?
Yeah.
If the correlation between like Lys and the Muriel bloodline like is the same, that would also mean that like Starborn, I think it's interesting because Satoria's soul was put into a star, the abilities, like everything like that. So
Right.
then it's a crazy theory. Like this is such an outrageous theory that
Outrageous theory.
it is no way
But
possible that it's true, but
but
it'd be so interesting.
if Colis somehow ends up getting Satoria's soul and she is reborn again, that means the Satoria bloodline and the AT's bloodline, they finally get their time together because
Right.
AT's was in love with Satoria.
Right. So, well, that's my thing. I'm like, okay, I just think it's so interesting. Okay, so the word list is in there. Astoria is a place there. Satoria, like the connections, and then like literally like Seraph, like Sarah, Lisa, and list sounds like Lisa,
Right.
like
And
all of a sudden,
with the Astoria thing, it just I don't know, it throws me off because
yeah,
it has to mean something because the kingdom of Solus, and that's what
right,
Colis called
right,
Satoria.
right.
So it just there
So,
has to be something there.
so then it's like crazy theory, but like, what if this is like Atti's Thorn, that bloodline, and then like Satoria and Lys, like what if it's like their time for like that bloodline and like those
To
souls to
finally
like
have
get their
peace.
love story? Yeah.
To
Definitely
finally
not
have
peace,
peace.
because some crazy stuff's about to go down, but like at least have like their love, right?
Right.
So one thing that really did stand out to me, which makes me think that Poppy put him in the ground and he doesn't have his
Okay.
memory, is his behavior in the new Primal book, he was like pretty much like Cass. Like he literally was like
Yeah,
joking, flirtatious. Like he was like, like,
right,
fun, flirty, all that stuff. He acts like Cass at the end of the book, the whole book. Like he literally is like the definition of like what an ancient being would act like.
right.
His behavior, like he literally has to like learn to ask permission and like he has to learn empathy, like loving and caring. And he like has compassion, but
The ancients can't feel.
it's more of like a possessive compassion. So he's like, oh, like you're mine. And instead of her being
Yeah,
like, you didn't ask if I wanted to go with you. And he was like, but I know you want to. And she's like, okay, but you still have to ask. Like,
right.
and
You
and so
still
he's
need
like,
to ask. It's called
so he's
respect.
like, so he's like learning all these things, right? And so clearly we know that this like isn't his behavior. So that's where I'm like, okay, does she bring out like Nicoria, heart, life? Like, does she bring the life and the emotion
Right.
back into him? And so here's
What if
my
he gets
thing.
all of his memories back at the end of the series? Oh my God.
Right. Right. So book two is definitely set up to make it seem like because at the end he gets her and he's like, Nala, you should have known to never run from me. Like that, like I'll always find you. But
Right.
her eyes are unglamored now, so like he's gonna know. And so that like we don't. It's setting it up to make it be like that he has to kill her, right? But I don't think that that's what's gonna happen. I'm
No.
thinking that he's going to choose one of two things. He's either going to choose to like accept the bond and it's going to be like a soul bond or like a heartmates, like
Right.
something like that. Or he's going to choose to like not like kill her. And by choosing either path, either one of those, I think that's what the stars like actually meant in the first place because I don't know why all these bad guys always just associate killing equals power. The only thing
Yeah.
that fates have said this entire time that is stronger than anything out there is love.
Love. Yeah.
Okay, so then overall, Thorn was an ancient during the Great War, but I think he shed his embers to become a fate. Those embers, whatever, if it's through Kieran, if it's through Attis, like whoever it's
Right.
from, made their way to Cass, right? So in the book, I'm still getting used to this. Hold on.
She just got a Kindle for the first time like 3 days ago.
I don't even know how to act. Okay.
I don't even know
So
how to act. It's so real. I swear though, I use my Kindle every day. Every day of my life. It was the best thing that I could
okay.
ever ask for.
So here is where this gets interesting because I want to know more about this, and I think we're going to get answers to this in the next book.
Right.
Thorn, that book, feathers on the cover, ravens on the inside, ravens on the map. He literally can turn into ravens. The ravens at the end of Primal, all the ravens around Cass, the photo of Cass, okay? And it says they came together feet above the ground, merging into one, into the figure of a man crouched several feet behind, his dark cloak pooling over the violet grass like smoke. That's all the crows literally forming
Right.
the like, okay, make that make sense. But then in that line that you read earlier, where Cass is like deep within me, like ruin and wrath, they didn't mention ruin and wrath.
Well, when they talk about the ancients waking up, they mention it and they're like, it will bring ruin and wrath. It will bring all of this. It will bring
Yeah.
wrath and ruin or whatever it is. They mention that a lot in the Primal book.
Okay, so he says, we keep meeting under the strangest circumstances. He noted, I'm beginning to think fate is afoot. She goes, fate? I laughed. You believe in fate? He goes, you don't? And then she goes, no. And then he said, interesting. My comment on it is he not a fate question mark? Or is this before? Like I'm confused. So
Interesting. You are
right.
a fate.
So I'm like, you are a fate. Like, do you know you're a fate? Do you not know you're a fate? But he has the eyes like of a fate still. So
You
then
obviously are a fate. So that is interesting that she doesn't believe in that. That's funny.
okay,
That's
well
funny.
I can't find it, but it literally was just like there's like three multiple comments in here like ruin, ruin and wrath, wrath, ruin. And I just was like
Right.
highlighting
There's a
them. You know what I'm
lot.
saying?
There's a lot through this book as well because I highlighted a bunch. I was like, this
Okay.
keeps coming up, and it
So
obviously
then
connects to the other book and the ancients and
so then Thorn was staring hard at Cass. Like in that book, he literally
yeah, he was. He was like, "Do
yeah.
you have a problem?"
And then like the little thing between Attis and him. And then also Poppy's reaction to Thorn's appearance. Like she was like, I feel
Yeah.
like I've met him before. And then she
He was
was like,
like,
oh,
"I lust
he's
over my
so
husband, but wow,
right, right,
like that's
right.
crazy."
The
And
Raven.
when you read books that are like romantasy or romance books, it's always like when in ACOTAR. she comes up and meets Reese for the first time, and she's like, "That's the most beautiful
Most
man that I've
beautiful
met."
I've
And
ever met.
you just know that that's gonna be
Yeah.
the main male character. So this was just
Right.
like, huh, you're
No,
shocking.
it definitely made me start to be like, huh.
Yeah, it makes you think because she's like, wow,
Right.
I love Cass and I lust over my husband every day, but this man, wow.
And it makes me want to be like,
Yeah, huh. There's a
So
connection
then
there.
the mannerisms, like in the last book to how Cass was in that book, like
Right.
too freaking similar. And then just like the powers, the abilities, like all of that stuff, right?
Yeah, it's all too similar to
So
not
then,
be in the same line.
okay, so now let's get into the pleasure feeding. Okay. So
This is
in
crazy.
okay, so in the world of Ruin and Wrath, here's like the breakdown of beings. Okay, lowborns, humans. Celestias are mortals that are descended from the quote unquote rare joining of a lowborn and a highborn. A highborn is like, okay, highborn is like gods just in general. And they're described as a powerful being of energy that feeds off of pleasure. So this is the difference between gods in the world here in like primal and then gods here because obviously they don't feed off pleasure. Now don't get me wrong, those
Right.
men they don't want to do it, but they don't like feed off of it. They feed off of blood and
Right.
like
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um and then you've got Dominion, which are powerful ancient gods tied to fate and have a bondage. So the difference between a Dominion and a Highborn is that one, it's not stated, but I think they're more powerful because I think they're a direct ancient, not a descendant. Because obviously gods are
Right.
descending from, right? But then also, in order to be a Dominion, you have to have a bonded. And a bonded is like the when you were born. Here's the thing too. This is what trips me. So they made it seem that as if you have like a bonded, but do you have a bonded from the moment that you wake up? Do you have just is it kind of like you have a bonded who eventually will one day be born? Like what is
Or
it?
right.
Because here's my thing is that she's an orphan. So I'm like, is this kind of like she doesn't have her memories of her previous lives because she's been hidden for so long because the prioresses hid her and glamored her? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like
Right.
that is just doing too much. So that's where I'm kind of like, okay, maybe it was just that, like, at some point, maybe he could feel when she was born.
Right.
And that's when he knew to go looking for her. Because remember when she was little, they were looking for her. Now, obviously, they didn't know it was her, but like they were looking for her.
Right.
Um, and then like the starborns are mortals who are made divine, which are bonded to that, and they are said to have like abilities. So hers is obviously foresight.
Which ties to Sarah and Poppy.
Right. So then from that series, we know that Dominion, Primal, Ancient Gods, Fates, whatever you want to call them at this point,
Right.
feed off of pleasure. We notice it is only stated like once that Cass fed from a meal,
Yeah.
but their sexual encounters were very different. The window scene
Very different.
just like his mannerism in general, and like how many, and like don't get me wrong, okay, he always was like oh, it doesn't like I don't have to for it to be great for me. He's always been that kind of man, which like
Right.
love,
I
we
did
love.
I did notice that it was more spicy. I did
Yeah.
notice that it was way more spicy than the previous books. I was like, damn, there's like a spice chapter every other chapter right now. I was like, wow, this
Well,
is great.
and there was like a scene where okay, the Dominions and like Highborn in general in this world, so their body parts do different things to humans. So like kisses heal. If you cut my eyeballs out and use them, it's like healing and all this stuff. Well,
Right.
that is an aphrodisiac, and it also like gets bigger and elongates. And there
Well,
was
and
a
here's
moment when Poppy said it felt.
yeah, because in the bathtub scene, it's the bathtub scene because
Yeah,
the first point of view when that happens is him, and the next chapter is her, and she's like, "Oh, last night, I could have sworn I felt him get bigger," and like the point of view from Cass, he's like, "There's this biting pain," and then it turned into feeling good, like it didn't. I
yeah,
swear I could feel myself swelling or whatever it may be.
yeah,
I was just like, that's
yeah,
odd. I was like,
yeah.
maybe he's going full primal because you
Right.
go back and flesh and
Because
fire because
Nick did that, which
yeah,
at first, before I did my reread of the Blue Book, I was like, oh, like I figured it was just kind of that.
no, that's
But
what I
now,
thought too.
but now I'm kind of like, oh, like,
Yeah, no, there's something else to it for
is it
sure.
right? Like, is it more? Okay, so then they like he like feeds off of pleasure, and then like remember when he was like mad at her, and it was the night before she was have to leave, and he like didn't even come and spend the night with her, but he came in, and then left.
And then left and fed her and left, and that was it. And
Yeah,
he
and
was,
I think that they've all been now.
that's a
Obviously,
crazy connection.
Kieran is doing his little thing with I can't remember her name right now.
Helena,
So it's like off script, but there's no way Kieran's not feeding too, because like if that's happening, like that's what's happening. But
right,
either way, like they
right.
are pleasure feeding. And I don't think that they've realized it yet. But because Poppy kept
Do
like they
you
all were
think,
asking, they were like, oh, like, have you fed? When was the last time you fed? When you fed? And so like we never saw it. And like he wouldn't feed off of her. He wouldn't
yeah.
feed off him, like nothing. Like he was pleasure feeding. And
Yeah, and
notice
he
how
was like looking at Malik and was like, he needs to feed, but wasn't thinking about himself.
right, but then also notice how every time after like these like interesting sexual encounters were happening,
Right.
he started like the progressiveness of his behavior as
Yeah.
he was
Yeah,
feeding
it gets
more.
worse.
Right.
And the other thing is that Poppy like was describing his skin as cold, and like in Flesh and Fire, when Nick really needed to feed, he needed like his skin got really cold.
Right. Well, and Wrath and Ruin, like his skin is described as like because they're made from it's I don't remember exactly, but it's like bones are made from this and our skin made from the stone
Right.
that's under the weak woods. And so like their skin is super hard and their skin is cold and stuff like that. So like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So then
That's a
because
crazy connection. A crazy
right. So
connection.
then because they're like he's fully changing into this, it explains his behavior in the entire book. Again, it's not excusable, but it's understandable because,
Yeah.
you know, it
No, I
makes
mean nobody knew this was happening.
right. Well, and it makes sense why he was like going like colder mentally and just like his emotions, like how he was like treating people. So like the coldness of his actions, he was very sexually motivated. Like
Oh yeah.
like bro, like the one comment, you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What's my favorite thing about you? Yo. Like I was
What's the prettiest
like
thing about you?
he was feral in this entire book. And
Your blankest
when
paradise.
I
Yeah,
tell
he was
you, no,
there.
because when I tell you it is like him and Thorn, you would think they were twins. Which makes me be like his pet. And here's
Interesting.
my thing though. I know that obviously him and Malik are different because he's not bonded with Poppy and turned into this and that and that. But even so, I just feel like something else is going on between Thorn and Cass more than just descendants.
Yeah, there has to be some type of link there.
Unless I'm gonna propose something crazy I just thought of. It's crazy. It's crazy. There's no way.
That's it. We'll debunk it together.
What if What if Thorn is Cass and Poppy's kid?
That can't be though, because he's in their book.
As a fate, they can travel. Poppy time traveled to New York City.
But it's not specifically stated as time travel.
It 100% is. It's 100%. Like there's that world is not in the same. You're telling me New York City's going on in the same world, the same era,
No,
the same
it's
time?
different
No,
realms, but that it could be going on at the same time.
I don't think it is. I don't think that's all going on at the same
The
time.
only thing,
And
okay, because I thought of this and I thought about that in my head. I was like, oh, what if Thorn is their kid, right?
because if he's a fate, right? If he's a fate, technically fates can go here, there, they can go to all these realms, universes, do whatever they want. And it would
Right.
make sense. Like I said, I don't think it is the case, but it'd be crazy if it was, and I wouldn't be crazy surprised
It would be
if
crazy
that's
how
what
she
happened
did
here.
it.
It would be crazy
The
how she did
thing.
it. I wouldn't be surprised by that actually being the outcome. Because here's my thing. He can do this and that. He's a fate now, right? It would explain why Attis knows something, because Attis always knows something that he
Yeah,
shouldn't.
well, he's always messing with the fates and the souls. He's gonna know
And
everything.
and it would make like and here's the thing though, is that the similarities, the appearances, the powers, the Raven thing, it doesn't make sense for Cass to just be a descendant of him. Like there's a stronger connection going there. So that's
Yeah.
the only reason I was like,
The only thing that gets me though is that AT's Notum is a bird. It's a silver hawk.
a Silverhawk. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like it kind of goes with the bird theme. So it kind of runs like if we're because he's not if we're looking off the family line that you drew up,
Yeah.
Those Cass, Valen, Aelion, Ates, Thor.
ATs, yeah.
We don't obviously don't know what Elion's was, but
Right.
Cass's, Ates, and Thorns are all birds. But the
Well,
Thorn and Cass
the
being the
others can't
same is Cass,
the others couldn't
Thorns.
turn, so that's why too.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true
Yeah.
because they're
But
gods,
but
not
here's the thing
primates.
though. But here's the thing though. For example, Atis he can turn into a singular Silverhawk, and
Yeah, I guess it's
it's still
multiple.
him. Thorn, literally, there were thousands of hawks.
Yeah, and Cass. I mean, there was literally ravens everywhere across the
Or
map.
hawks, ravens, I mean.
Yeah, they were like, oh,
Thousands of
here,
ravens
Kieran
everywhere.
was
And
like, get used to them. They're everywhere.
right. So I don't know, like something
Yeah.
something
Mm, you might be hitting on one with that because I thought
and
about it
like
and
I
I
would be
was like,
very
no, you know what? He's in.
how she does it would be crazy to me, and that's where I would be surprised about. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the outcome.
Yeah, but if he's a fate, wouldn't that be
Because then
considered
also
intervening because he sees Poppy? Well, I guess not. I don't know because he
that's
really
what I'm
didn't
saying.
do
Like
anything.
I don't know. Yeah, he didn't really do anything. And they made a bargain and like bargains are allowed and he didn't reveal anything and he even told Addie to shut up. Like,
And he was like,
you
"You're not
know,
here."
so right, but then if it's not Attes and Satoria, it's Cass and Poppy reborn through them. Like if that's like their, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that line.
and death and destruction just comes every time.
So I'm very excited to see like Wrath and Ruin 2 because
I am
um
as well.
I just like I'm telling you right now, he's not gonna kill her. Like that's not how it works. He's not gonna kill her. It's gonna
No,
be
I feel
I
like it's
pick
gonna be like a. I feel
it's
like it's
either
gonna
like a
be.
heartmate bond or he's gonna just not kill her. But either way, and I
I
feel
feel
like
like
that's what
it
the
might
stars
be
want.
like a Poppy Cat situation where he sets out and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you,"
Yeah.
and then
Well, also
actually
I
falls in
think
love.
too, I think we're gonna get this moment where it was like if he had caught her when she was a kid and he like didn't know her and like wasn't falling in love with her,
Right,
I think it would have been like, well, I'm killing you.
right,
But this whole time they've been drawn to each other and they don't know why. And now this explains why.
right.
But like the feelings are already there.
Yeah, and that's
Uh,
the other thing is that all the heartmates are like, I feel drawn to you, or like
right.
Sarah and Nick, they were drawn to
Well,
the shadow
and
Argos.
when he came, when she was a kid, okay, he noticed when he was like, oh, it's not her, da 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 da. He noticed that she had bruises on her arms because the orphanage that she was in, the master or the mister,
Right,
used to pinch her and leave bruises. And her lifelong, pretty much brother, right, is like, oh, leave her alone, da da da. And then the other bad guy, Samuel, has him like, right, and he can't like do
right.
anything. And his name is Grady, I think. Sorry, I read like 3 books in the last like 48 hours. So Grady. Um and um Grady didn't hear this. They mind talked. He asked her, "Who did that to you?" And she went like this and looked at him, and then he killed the mister when they left. And this whole time she's remembered this, and then she's like having this conversation with Grady, and she's like, "What are you talking about? Like, he didn't say that." And she was like, "Yes, he did." He like asked me about it because she was saying how he's different than other highborns. And he was like, "No, all highborns are the same. Ooh,
Right,
revolution, you know, and all this stuff." And then she's like, "No, like he's different. There's something different about him. Like even when we were younger, like he did that to the mister." And
right.
he's like, "What do you mean? Yeah, he killed him." She was like, "No, like he asked who did that." He's like, what are you talking about? They mind talked like heartmates, like when they can
It's a mind link. Yeah,
like I'm telling you.
obvious. It's obvious.
I'm telling you. So here's the thing. We have all these connections. What the fuck do they mean? Like, obviously we know book
My
seven.
brain hurts
Like,
so bad.
obviously we know in book seven, Colas is still an enemy. And honestly, I feel okay, this is what I
Polis ain't the
really
biggest
want.
enemy
No, no, no,
now.
no, no. I'm feeling like we're gonna get the family reunion of a century by a whole family war of just curb stomping Colas because I'm talking like Sarah is about to get up in there.
Well,
Nick,
Sarah
he about
saved
to,
Poppy from him
that's what I'm
because
saying. Like,
the last line of hers is, "Oh, I smell fresh, like a fresh smell and
I
citrus."
think actually, I think it's Nick.
Okay, because I thought it was Nick too.
So
But
I
she
think Nick,
described she described her as fresh and citrus before, and I was like, oh, because when I first
No,
read it, I was like, oh my
I
God,
think
that's
it's
Nick.
Nick. I think it's Nick. So I think Nick came because Atsy's like got told him like you need to come because he's
Right.
injured. He's dying. He's like, you need to come. He can't get them out. So Nick comes and gets them. And so obviously she's healing, she's doing all this stuff,
Right.
whatever. And Cass is,
Oh yeah, no,
what?
they're one big happy family right now. They're all together.
Well, I'm hoping that I'm just hoping that Poppy and Cass are okay.
What if it doesn't? What if it's not a happy ever ending, like a happy ever after ending?
Uh, I refuse. So we're not gonna even talk about it. So anyway,
Oh, okay.
I
We're
think we're gonna get this big happy war family. I'm talking like Atsy's gonna be there,
yeah.
bro, everyone and I think Loki Holland gonna be in there and Victor.
Holland and Victor.
Like
There's something's gonna happen with the fates where it's like because Poppy called them cowards. She was like, "You're all cowards. You're all saving your asses." You know what I mean? I think
because
they're gonna turn
yours,
around and like
yeah.
interfere a lot.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think we're gonna get this literally full on war and Colas is gonna be gone. We better get this found family moment. I need Cass, Kieran, and Poppy to be okay. Okay, so I think she's announced that Ruin 2 is gonna come out first. I don't remember
Really?
though. I don't remember. But I feel like she said Ruin 2.
Okay, so the
And
reading
you know
order
what's
that I
crazy? She's never said how many Wrath and Ruin books there's gonna be.
right.
She's never said that.
Oh my gosh. After 11
Like,
books, come on,
Miss
girl.
Girl.
I swear to you, I'm so excited to read some fluffy romance books this week because I need a break. That was a lot. I have
Jordan,
never
I
had,
just read an entire arc book.
yeah, literally one day.
Because I
I have
needed filler.
I have never read a book series that caused me to use my brain
Yeah.
more than anything.
Oh,
Like
this isn't going to
even
be the
fourth
first one.
wing.
I'm about to get you. Wait till we get to Zodiac.
Oh gosh. But
Now,
the
this
reading
one is
order,
definitely
that
more. This one's a lot of writing down. Zodiac is just a
yeah.
lot.
So the reading order is obviously Blood and Ash 1 through 3, Flesh and Fire 1,
Yep.
Blood and Ash 4, Flesh and
Yep.
Fire 2 through 4,
Yep.
The Awakening, which
Yeah.
is Fall of Ruin and Wrath, Blood and Ash 5, Blood and Ash 6. On this reading order, it says May 2025 update from Blood
You
and
said
Ash.
that wrong. You said
Huh?
that wrong. Fall, Wrath and Ruin shouldn't be that early.
I am going to read it after, but that's where it's placed in the reading order. I think that's the publishing order.
Yeah, that's the publishing order. So if
So,
you
but
ask
it
my
says,
personal opinion, I feel like if I would have done it differently, I would have read Thorne's book right before this last one, but
right,
also I did like the connections after too. So I feel like it doesn't matter
right,
either way. I think I don't have a
right,
preferred because I read it before, obviously. So I did know what the book was going into that book. So I had that knowledge, but then it was
right.
nice to read it after and me be like, you
Yeah.
know um but
But
then also because it is set after time wise I think it makes sense too because otherwise the confusion and the switch between his personalities from book to book would seem really confusing if you read it before the last book.
yeah, yeah, that's possible. Yeah, because she confirmed that it's set afterwards, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So on this reading order or reading guide, it says May 2025 update. So May of this year. So this was
I'm
right
hoping so.
before Blood and Ash 6 came out.
Yeah,
It says Blood and Ash 7 is confirmed, not confirmed, but it says Blood and Ash 7 is coming out spring of 2026. So
I
that's in a
hope
few
so.
months.
I
And then
hope
it
so.
says unclear what happens with the originally planned Millie POV book. Obviously, we have no idea what's going on with that.
Yeah.
No news on Fall of Ruin and Wrath book 2.
So I thought that I had heard that Ruin and Wrath 2 was coming out first.
I hope not.
Which, if you think about it for marketing purposes, it would make sense.
Yeah, for marketing purposes, yeah. But
But for my heart, I want both. So can they both come out?
especially if it's already written, like it was a full Deathly Hallows, I need to split it in two.
Yeah. I definitely
It's already written and she already
I just
has
want
it.
the
Bro, you
ending. I
better
want
put
both.
that shit on printing
I
now.
want both. Can you just like do both? Like give me like this one and then 3 days
Yeah.
later?
How long does she normally go in between publishing new books? Is it 6 months? Most romance authors, Anna Huang, she releases in spring and then she releases in like
So it just
or I guess
depends. 'Cause,
beginning of
like
the year and
it
end of the
depends.
year.
Because like with her books, this series has been going on for so long that it like sometimes it's like a year in between.
Yeah, but if it's already written,
I don't know. We don't even like I don't know. We don't really know anything, and I'm waiting on like more updates from her. And when we have updates, we'll definitely be having another conversation.
dude, are
I
you
do
gonna
know
buy?
that if it is in spring, I'm not doing another reread.
No, it'll be too fresh.
Will I
No
reread this
way.
book in the future? Yes,
Oh yeah.
1000%. Probably like 4 more times. Plus,
I
that my brain hurts
my
from,
brain hurts too. I
and
can't.
I'm just saying, I'm probably gonna bill her my therapy bill.
Yeah, I'm billing Jennifer my therapy bill too
She should be paying for
because
my therapy because
yeah, her Rebecca
yeah,
Yaros and Olivia Darling.
literally.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just hoping we get updates soon.
I'm hoping we
Overall,
soon.
this whole series is my 6 star. Like one of my favorite series of all time. Was my most anticipated read. I read it literally within 24 hours and I sobbed and I cried.
It definitely took me a while to. I started in June. It took me to October
Yeah.
to catch up, but I will say
See,
that
I
this book
flew through.
series, this book series was one of the only ones that really made me use my brain and was like had to
Yeah.
like break it down. Like I
Yeah.
wrote everything down.
But yeah. Okay, guys. Well.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week.